Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books, and I've been covering Disney and Marvel very closely, especially these last few months. There are panic emergency reshoots planned for The Marvels. Why? Because they never planned out a good movie in the first place. They just thought they would have fun with it and do whatever they wanted to do. The success of Marvel Phase 1, 2, and 3 led Kevin Feige and people supporting him to believe they could do whatever they wanted with the Marvel brand. As Kevin Feige said recently in an interview, they can make any kind of Marvel movie, any kind of Marvel genre movie they want. All they have to do is make sure there's some seed of a relationship to one of the comics published over the last 80 years, and that's a lot of comics, and that they put the Marvel label on it. He thinks he's got license to do whatever he wants. So that's why they did this. That's why with Phase 4, they transitioned away from anything that people knew and wanted and were interested in, and just threw all the projects out to whomever wanted to work on a Marvel project. As long as Nate Moore said, the famous producer for Marvel, the guy who created Namor for Wakanda Forever, they just don't like hiring writers that love the comics and want to recreate what was in the comics. They want to take all the comics in a different direction, according to Nate Moore. And that's where you come up with massive disasters like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and the coming Marvels. Now, this is coming from Cosmic Book News. It is a rumor. The Marvels reshoots dump goofy footage following the Ant-Man failure. Problems surrounding Kevin Feige's approach to both Phase 4 and Phase 5, according to reports. Let's get into the article. Before we do, please be sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications and give me a thumbs up. I really do appreciate you guys. We actually might have Kevin Feige, Peyton Reed, and Jeff Loveness to thank in the long run, as it's claimed the Marvels is undergoing reshoots to dump the goofy footage in the movie and fix the third act. Kevin Feige's Phase 4 and the start of Phase 5 have mostly featured awful writing paired with extreme goofiness that has caused MCU fans to turn on their once beloved Marvel Cinematic Universe, where it was once thought Feige and company could do no wrong. However, following a string of failures theatrically and on Disney+, the MCU is not what it used to be, as flicks such as Eternals, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, which was terrible, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania haven't been well received, in addition to Disney Plus shows such as She-Hulk and Ms. Marvel, the latter being the least watched Marvel show on Disney Plus. Because who could really stand to watch all those episodes of She-Hulk? I'm sure some people did. I'm going to tell you I did not. If you watched all the She-Hulk episodes, please let me know in the comments below and let me know why you did that. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is on target to be a major bomb, especially considering it was supposed to launch what they're calling Phase 5. Higher, further, faster, together. What is that supposed to mean? Well, we'll find out on November 10th. What are the problems with the Marvels? Regarding the Marvels, the release date was recently pushed back for a second time, this time from summer to November, with the trades reporting the reason for the delay is to give the film more time for post-production. Various scoopers chimed in and said the real reason for the delay is the Marvels tested so poorly with test screenings and audiences. We can also add that similar to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the Marvels has writers that are basically a bunch of nobodies, and we now know how bad the Quantumania script is, so that doesn't necessarily bode well for the Marvels. You know, what I keep saying about Quantumania was, it really feels incomplete. If you watch Quantumania and you try to follow what's going on, you say to yourself, I can see where they were thinking about doing certain things, and they had a couple of ideas to do a couple things that were cool. For example, I liked the scene where there's a pile of Ant-Mans and they're kind of crawling on top of each other to then form kind of a tower, and then the top one gets to the top of the tower. I thought that was kind of interesting and it did look pretty cool, but these are just different strung together ideas. It's not a finished piece. It's not coherent. It's not cohesive. So the reshoots for the Marvels are reported to involve the third act. Now a new rumor offers further insights as to the delay and problems surrounding the Marvels, where it's claimed that reshoots involve fixing the third act and removing goofy scenes. The info comes from the Watcher2099 Twitter account, who appears to be new to the Scoop Game, and Redditors have posted the information. There's a big active Reddit community. I don't really go there. I like to see rumor stories published by websites I like first before I cover stories like that. Who knows what I'll do in the future, but that's just how I roll. Quote, reshoots, I heard the third act is being reworked. There were also tonal issues within the film. They may trim some of the goofier stuff down. I'm also not sure the third act incursion is happening anymore, tweeted the account. The third act incursion is a reference to an earlier leak about the Marvels from last summer that is said to be a verified plot leak posted to Reddit. So it appears the Marvels reshoots are happening, which will remove goofy scenes as a result of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania failing, as well as the notion that the MCU is just too damn goofy. Something the Mandalorian is now being chastised for. Feige doesn't have 2 Avengers movies to save Captain Marvel this time, so Feige needs to get things right as the movie stars 3 female leads, because it's all about diversity. Goofiness with good writing is not all bad. James Gunn took the goofy approach with his Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but that's what made them special, and Gunn actually thrives at writing goofiness. It seems Feige decided to borrow from Gunn's approach and simply make every MCU movie about cosmic and space dumbed down and or goofy. Ragnarok, Eternals with Deviants, Ms. Marvel, Quantumania, The Marvels, etc., which has resulted in a worse product and again is something that takes a lot away from Gunn and Marvel's movies. As Matt says in the article, keep them goofy, but not for everything. Matt says he doesn't know much about the plot of the Marvels other than Carol Danvers, Kamala Khan, and Monica Rambeau somehow get a hold of magical bracelets that enable them to switch places, but it seems much more on the goofier side of things, as Miss Marvel shouldn't even be featured in the movie as she's had her powers for a week, because this is a direct sequel to Captain Marvel. And remember, they couldn't call it Captain Marvel 2 because they know that would have bombed, potentially even worse than the Marvels, but that remains to be seen. Let me know what you think of that in the comments below. And now Kamala is headlining a big MCU space movie where Feige and Brie Larson say she's the future of the MCU. How did that happen? At least Carol has been Captain Marvel for decades, and Monica has been trained by SWORD, and her mother was in the military. But seeing Kamala side by side with Carol and Monica is a complete joke. It's worse than Rey in Star Wars. The official poster says it all. They all look miserable, and so are we. They do look unhappy in this poster. Let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Do you think there's anything they can really do to save this movie? I mean, they can go and redo the 3rd act all they want. They can pull out things that are extra goofy, crazy comments in this movie, terrible moments. But I don't know how you're supposed to Frankenstein together and hack together something good after it was just such a bad idea in the first place to do this. This was supposed to be the sequel to Captain Marvel. Then they threw in these other characters that I guess they're similar to Captain Marvel in a way. So then you can call them the Marvels, and maybe that makes them a team. And literally every Marvel movie seems to have a cast of superheroes in it now. It can't just be based on one single successful character, which is what works so well in Phase 1. I think they've really overextended themselves. I can't see how they could possibly fix this, but let me know if you think they can fix this or they can't fix this in the comments below. Are you going to be psyched to see this movie in November? Now, Warner Bros. Discovery put out an announcement just today stating they're going to give additional millions in bonuses upon success, not just free money for nothing, but upon success for their high-level executive team for focusing on 2 things. 1, generating more free cash flow, and 2, reducing their debt. They've been doing a great job at reducing their debt. It's down to $45 billion. They've paid off at least $7 billion of their acquisition debt. This was something they got back in April of 2022, so it's coming up on a year, but it hasn't even been a year. They paid down $7 billion of their debt, and their free cash flow that they made in the last quarter was actually $2.48 billion, up from an estimated $700 million that was supposed to happen in that last 3 months. This means they're focusing on generating cash. Free cash flow is not the same as income. It just means it's extra cash they have left after they've paid off all their debts and their obligations for that quarterly period. But that free cash flow is like the working capital they can use to make new movies, to make acquisitions, or to give millions in bonuses to their executives, to do whatever they want to do with it. Disney doesn't have this kind of free cash flow. Disney has a lot less free cash flow. They may even have more in terms of income in one quarter, but you're going to see Warner Bros. Discovery is focused on generating this extra cash. The cash is really very important, especially to pay off debt, but to be able to invest in the movies that they want to make. I've seen a couple of videos and articles about, oh my God, how is Warner Bros. Discovery going to be able to release movies for their DC franchise? They don't have the cash. They have the cash. They have plenty of cash. It's ridiculous. Even there was a finance report on Yahoo that was talking about how they're going to need $10 billion supposedly over the course of 3 years to release their DC movies. That's ridiculous. There's no... How many movies are they going to release? They're going to release one movie a week or something like that? These aren't comics. These are movies. They spend whatever they spend, $200 million making a movie, but they don't spend that over a month. They spend it over the whole course of the production, and then they spend money on promotion. But it's not all spent all at once. It's spaced out over time, and as they spend the money, some money actually comes back. Luckily, the people at Warner Bros. Discovery are better at managing their cash and dealing with their finances and paying off debt than the people that pop up on Yahoo Finance or on some of these videos talking about how Warner Bros. Discovery can't finance producing their own movies. Even James Gunn has said recently there's a lot more to their Chapter 1 that they will be releasing that they haven't talked about yet, which does make a lot of sense. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Are you going to go see the Marvels? Do you think there's any chance they could possibly save the Marvels? Love to see what you have to say about it. Also, if you have any thoughts on Warner Bros. Discovery, I always love to see comments about that too. Some people love what Warner Bros. Discovery is doing. Some people don't like it. My main thing is it ain't Disney, and they're not focused on ideology the way they're focused on cash, 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 cash. Disney could kind of care less when it comes to cash, it seems like. Warner Bros. Discovery is focused on getting cash in the door, and that means they don't have the time and energy to spend on ideology worship. But definitely let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, please be sure you're also subscribed to the channel, click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.